Okay, get ready, because the biggest sporting event on the entire planet is coming. And the 2026 FIFA World Cup, it's shaping up to be something totally different, unlike anything we have ever seen before. And trust me, when you see the numbers, you'll get why.
First up, just think about the sheer number of games. We're not talking 60 or 70, we're talking about a staggering 104 matches. That is a huge leap from the 64 we just saw in Qatar. And get this, for the very first time, the tournament is expanding to 48 national teams. That's 16 more countries getting a shot at the ultimate prize in all of football.
And it's all happening across 3 different host nations. That's right, Canada, Mexico, and the United States, in what is a truly historic continent-wide collaboration.
So, yeah, it's not an exaggeration. This is, officially, the biggest World Cup ever. The scale is it's on a whole other level. And it's all designed to be a landmark moment for the beautiful game.
The official slogan for the whole thing is "We are 26." It's simple, right? It's meant to capture this spirit of global unity and inclusion. A message that, as we're about to see, is both a really powerful goal and, well, a pretty significant challenge. So how in the world do you pull this off? Hosting an event this massive is a logistical feat of continental proportions. I mean, spreading a tournament across 3 of the world's biggest countries is an unbelievable undertaking. Let's take a look at how they're doing it.
So, 16 host cities have been picked. 11 of them are in the US, you've got 3 in Mexico, and 2 up in Canada. The grand final, that's going to be at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. And you'll notice, to handle the massive crowds, they're not building a ton of new venues. They're actually relying on these colossal NFL and CFL stadiums and converting them for soccer.
And just to really put this into perspective, look at this side by side with the last World Cup in Qatar. We are jumping from 32 teams to 48, from 1 host nation to 3, and from 64 matches all the way up to 104. You see, this isn't just a little increase, it's a complete transformation of the tournament's entire structure and scale.
But this expansion isn't just about making the tournament bigger for the sake of being bigger. The whole stated goal here is to make it a more global game. And this new format, it really does open the door for more nations than ever to finally get a chance on the world's biggest stage.
And you can really see that impact right here. For the first time ever, all 6 soccer confederations have at least 1 guaranteed spot. The Oceania Football Confederation, for example, finally gets a direct path to the finals, instead of a tricky playoff. This could mean we see debut appearances from nations like Jordan, Uzbekistan, Cape Verde, or maybe even Curacao. It's a genuinely historic moment of inclusion for the sport. But for all the celebration of unity and expansion, there's a really complicated reality playing out in the background. It seems the promise of a global welcome is running head-on into some very real-world controversies.
And that brings us to the crucial question, doesn't it? With the entire world invited to the party, will everyone actually feel welcome when they get here? Officially, the answer you'll hear is a resounding yes. The executive director of the White House Task Force on the World Cup has been super clear in their messaging, saying, quote, "We want to make sure that we're as welcoming as possible." But human rights organizations, they see a starkly different picture. Amnesty International USA warns, quote, "You cannot have unity if you're promoting discrimination. This will create a hostile environment." And right there, that's the deep contradiction at the heart of this tournament. A beautiful message of unity clashing with a very difficult on-the-ground reality.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics of these off-the-pitch issues that are, casting a shadow over that whole message of unity.
So first up is the reinstated U.S. travel ban. It affects citizens from 19 different countries, including 2 that have actually qualified for the World Cup, Haiti and Iran. Now, the athletes and the team staff, they get an exemption, but the fans, they don't. And that means supporters from these 2 nations are very unlikely to be issued visas to come cheer on their teams. It kind of directly undermines that whole "We are 26" idea.
And then you have the sheer scale of U.S. immigration enforcement. Just look at this data from Human Rights Watch. In the areas right around the 11 U.S. host cities, there were over 92,000 ICE arrests in just the first 10 months of 2025 alone. But what's really staggering here is that over 65% of those people arrested had no criminal conviction. This is exactly what human rights groups are talking about when they warn of a hostile environment.
And this isn't just about abstract numbers on a chart. This quote, it comes from an asylum seeker who was arrested by ICE in the parking lot of MetLife Stadium, the very stadium that's hosting the 2026 final, while he was just trying to take his kids to a soccer match. His story makes the impact of these policies incredibly personal and very real.
The controversies aren't just limited to the host nations either. In Iran, one of the participating nations, women have fought for decades just for the right to attend soccer matches. For a long time, they were officially banned, and while that ban was lifted after a lot of pressure from FIFA, the fight continues. This struggle is so tragically symbolized by Sahar Khodayari, who became known as Blue Girl, a fan who died after setting herself on fire when she was facing jail time just for trying to get into a stadium.
And all this brings us to a really fascinating contrast in values. In 2025, FIFA awarded its first ever Peace Prize to President Donald Trump for exceptional actions for peace. In that same year, the Nobel Peace Prize went to the Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado for her struggle for democracy and human rights. It's just a stark illustration of two very, very different definitions of what peace actually means in our world.
So all of this, it leads us to a fundamental question. Whose World Cup is this really? We've got the beautiful game on its grandest stage, but that stage is set in a world of deeply conflicting values.
Can the world's biggest party truly unite us when its hosts and even some of its participants are so deeply divided on fundamental issues like human rights, immigration, and basic inclusion?
Without a doubt, it is going to be the beautiful game on the world's biggest stage. But beyond the pitch, beyond the final whistle of the last match, the final score on whether this tournament truly lives up to its promise of unity, well, that is yet to be decided.